Next on the list to learn is importing a plain text file. So we can import text into our Illustrator file that was created in other applications. So we can import things like Word documents, DOC, DOCX, RTF. There's a bunch more listed in your book, but I don't know how many times you guys are copying and pasting or placing text written in Unicode, Turkish, Baltic, or Central European, but I may be wrong. So the top of page 249 tells all of the currently supported formats. So one of the advantages of importing text from a file rather than copying and pasting it into Illustrator is that the imported text retains its character and paragraph formatting by default. So if something has been laid out in Microsoft Word and there's a font and a certain size and certain words are bold on purpose, if you place it in here the way we're going to, it will retain that formatting. So it's a good idea to work this way. Wonder what this is going to be. I don't know. Okay, let's go to Artboard 2 and get there any way you would like. And let's just click somewhere to deselect and make sure that we don't have anything accidentally selected on either artboard. All right, to place a file, we're going to go up to File, and then we're going to choose Place. Again, we're not opening and then copying and pasting. We're actually going to paste. And there are a couple of extra steps, so don't speed through this right now. In Lesson 9, we're going to choose the L9 text, but just single click it, because what we want to do next is we want to click on the Options button. If you can't see this, if it looks just like this, click on the Options button so that you get these other options: Link, Template, Replace, all grayed out, or Show Import Options. We're going to turn that one on, Show Import Options, and then we're going to say Place. All right. This opens up a dialog box. I'll bring it over here. And these are some options that you could tweak prior to placing this text. So extra carriage returns, that goes back to talk of how we worked on a typewriter, where we would type to the end of the paper and then we would hit the, I didn't even do this, but there was a little thing sticking up that they would hit, and it would send the carriage return back to the far side of the paper so you could keep typing on the second line. There was no such thing as it automatically rolled down a line. So if people have hit hard returns at the end of their line or hard returns between paragraphs, you can remove all of that by clicking on these boxes. You don't have to do it later when you're formatting. And then anytime there are more than 3 or more spaces, we're going to replace that with a tab, because you know some people in Word will hit space 17 times rather than tab. If this is probably what you intended them to do or what they should have done. We're going to leave them as they are defaulted, but this is important to know that they exist, and we're going to say OK. What's going to happen now is our icon is going to be loaded with the text that we're about to place. There it is at long last. So I can see, I'll move this up to the top here, I have an icon that says 1 of 1 and there's some text in it. So I went and got one file, and I'm going to place the one file by either, if I click, it'll fill it in, but better yet, I'm going to click and drag down at the bottom here. I'm going to click and drag out a box in this area where the dashed lines are at the bottom. And you see a little red icon here. We're going to worry about that in just a minute. So from here, we're going to move on. That's how we placed text. Area type. So the kind like this, it has a bounding box and has this icon down at the bottom. Each box contains an import. I'm going to click to the selection tool. It contains an import, which is this second box right here that's empty, and an outport, which is this box down here that has the red plus sign in it. So the other boxes are just our bounding box. These are the annotator and the make it auto size. So When text is flowing into this box from another source, this would be lit up, and when there's more text that doesn't fit in this box, this one lights up as red. This is showing us that we have overset text or additional text that didn't fit here. So one thing might be to keep pulling this down and see if you can make it work, and clearly that's not going to work. So our next option is, you know what, we need to take this extra overset text and we need to thread it into a second text box over here. So with our selection tool, we're going to click on this red plus. And when we do that, our cursor is loaded up again with type. And when we see this, we're going to use our smart guides and we're going to line up another shape that's going to be as tall and deep as the original one. Now we see the thread line. Everything that was placed in this box and didn't fit was threaded into this second box, or column in this case. So we can have multi-column layouts, or think about articles where you're reading along and then all of a sudden it says continue on page 248. If we were to click the out port, move to page 248, draw out a text box, and our overflow would fill into that. Then when we went back to the article, if we were to change something here, take out some words or add words, it would continue to flow, the overflow would continue to go here. Or if we take out words, this is going to start sucking up and maybe eventually we don't even have anything in the overflow. All right, so this is the in port, in P-O-R-T, not import, in, I-N, of this box, and the out port is empty right now, whereas before it had a plus sign and now it's threaded on this one. With our second object over here still selected, we're going to drag on the right middle point to make it as wide as we see it in the figure in our book, which is out to these dashed lines out here. And again, the text is flowing. There's obviously a hard return here, down to this line, etc. So threading text and importing place text is actually very simple.